22nd, 24 political liaison agenda. Just to note, we were a few minutes late in our start. We were trying to achieve quorum. To note for the record that Chief and Greg are away on council business, and Dean as well. Hazel is at medical, and Audrey is ill, and Melba is absent. Without further ado, we'll start today's agenda. First of all is identification of any media. Seeing none, we'll go to adoption of the agenda. Seconder? Leslie? All in agreement? Against? Carried. And first are the delegation presentations. Is that the cap team? It's number 6. Yeah. Oh, okay, so we have no delegations this morning. Then next is the adoption of political liaison minutes. Do we have a mover for the minutes? Yeah. Chair. I got elevated.
Just in the minutes on item number 6, I know there was a regarding the MOU with housing and the development firm. I just wondered if there was any follow-up, because I know there were some, we didn't have the MOU at first, and there was a question or concern, so I don't know if that was addressed, Nathan, in regards to that MOU.
That was in regards to, oh yes. Yep, the comments in terms of the preference, right? Yep, that was addressed.
Any other questions regarding the minutes? Chair.
Chair. Item number 7, subsection 4. I know it had in the minutes there was to be on a Zoom meeting. I was unable to attend that Zoom meeting. However, it was very technical. So I had asked Mike from Public Works and Derek from his title now to zoom in regards to the issue there, which was in reference to how more advantage can be given to the First Nation during construction projects. And I know Six Nations is probably far hit a lot of First Nations, and so Mike got on and Derek got on, and they shared a lot of things that what we do and have done in the past in regards to our construction projects. So we'll just wait for a follow-up to see if anything changes with ISC or INAC.
Just further on that, Dale, you said we do what we are familiar with and what we do to ensure. Do we put provisions or clauses in the contracts that they have to hire somebody local?
Yes, that's something that we've done in the past in regards to a certain percentage of, commitment from the contractor or consultants who ever work on these projects, that they have to do a certain higher local labor or even to the point of having expenses within the community for community benefit.
Thank you. So we'll read on those minutes there. We have Dale, you?
I just wanted to state that I did not attend. However, Mike and Derek attended on the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
And after that, I'll move on to minutes from
Okay,
January 8th.
Do we have a seconder? Elena? Thank you. All in agreement? And against? Seeing none, the motion is passed. And number 6 is a recommendation from Consultation Accommodation Process Team, the CAP. And we have online, where is he? Lonnie, are you addressing this or Taylor?
Is this the CAT team activity report one?
This is recommendation from Consultation and Accommodation Process Team.
Yes, it'll be me. So yeah, this is the monthly CAP team activity report. So
It's the, sorry, Taylor. It's one is about the, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Zolotoric property.
oh, Lonnie, I'll start and then Lonnie wants to add. So this one, so these are both the two ATR properties. So they were originally put into the system. I think we got the properties in the 90s and they were put in shortly after that. There was a new ATR legislation update in 2016. And then we also got a new person who's working on our file in September. So they had started a new system instead of where like you can submit online, so a portal. So originally they were transferring all the old ATR properties into the portal, and now they need us to do that. And in order for that to be done, they're now requiring a new band council resolution in order to proceed with them. So that's just requesting a new band council resolution for the two properties that were already in the system for many years. I don't know if you want to add anything, Lenny?
No, that's about it. That's pretty much what's occurring here.
Question, Dale?
Yeah, Lonnie, just on the resolution itself. I know it says the Six Nations of the Grand River elected council resolution for said properties. I was wondering if we could add the words approve an updated / new resolution, because you already have one existing. And then
Yeah.
at the end, I added some words, is that due to legislation being changed, so that's why you're updating. I just wanted it to be clear in regards to why we're given this new resolution. I was just wondering if that would be possible to add that, Lonnie.
I don't see any problem with that.
Ellen, question?
This is one of the issues that I have a real problem with, and I have been having it for the last 4 years. They're completely revamping the ATR process. They're making new legislation, 2 different legislations. They're making an ATR legislation, and they're making creation of a reserve legislation. And I know darn well that creation of reserve is probably to accommodate the Métis. I brought it to the last council about 3-4 times that we had to do something because we need to get on the, there was money to do community engagement. What kind of an added to reserve process do we want? But we called the last council, we didn't do nothing. The last council didn't do anything. So now the engagement process is all over and they're getting ready to do legislation. And I have a real concern with it because when I attended the gathering a couple years ago, Patty Hadju, whatever her name is, she kept talking about the First Nations Land Management Act and talking about land codes. And I was concerned that in order to get land transferred to the reserve, maybe they're going to put that in there now that we have to belong to these things. And Six Nations has always said no to the First Nations land management and to land codes. But there's more and more First Nations signing on to it. And she reminded everybody that how many there was. I can't remember what she said, but she kept bringing that up, and that concerned me. But they had money for us to do community engagement, so we didn't do anything. So now I'm concerned with it again because when we buy land, like we bought these properties, right? When we add it to the reserve, we're turning it into crown land. We're buying land that the feds stole from us, and then we're giving from the added to reserve, we're giving it back to them. That doesn't even make sense to me. I wanted council, when I brought it up at council, I wanted us to sit down and really fight for return of the land, not add it to reserve land. And this was a real good opportunity to start fighting for that and changing it when they were going through this whole process. The chiefs of Ontario never really even did anything. Well, the AFN's got their fingers in there too. But the chiefs of Ontario never really did anything about it either. It's just like everybody just, oh, well, I think this is going to be a big thing. And especially that creation of a reserve, are they gonna give the Métis some of our land and create a reserve and say, oh, it's for the Métis? Like, this is concerning. So what I wanna do is I wanna write up another report and for all the new counselors so they can understand what the added to reserve is all about. Cause they've made changes over the years. I know in 2016 they made some, 2019 they made some, but they're making new legislation, two of them. They added to reserve legislation and the creation of a reserve legislation. And I think they're coming pretty soon. They were supposed to, it's got $43 million. They were supposed to catch up on the backlog before they started doing all this new stuff, which is what ours is in the backlog, right? Ours has been sitting there for what, 30 years? Waiting to get added to reserve. They were supposed to do that, but obviously they never, because we didn't get ours done. So there was a lot of money to do community consultations for that. I don't know of any reserve that did any, to be honest with you. But I'm concerned. I'm really concerned.
Thank you, Helen. Any other questions, comments? Dale?
I'd like to hear any comments from Lonnie or Phil in regards to that, with Helen's concern.
Okay, well, I can go ahead first, Phil. We're having a hard time hearing you. I don't know, there's something wrong with the system, so, but I guess you can hear me okay. No, this ATR process is completely frustrating. They just seem to keep putting new hoops in your way all the time. You get something done and the time limit on it runs out. You got to start all over. It's like, once they've got your land, they're not going to give it back to you unless they have no other choice. But it's frustrating. I'm hopeful that some point down the road, especially as our lawsuit picks up speed, that somebody's going to come to this will be one of the issues that will be part of that, any kind of resolution. So, because the ATR process is a totally unsatisfactory process. It's not working for First Nations. It certainly doesn't work for us. Just look at all of the lands that are still in that process from the 1990s. So, yeah, there needs to be a political push to do something. I mean, I complain, Phil complains, Taylor complains all the time to the bureaucrats, and it's the bureaucrats who run the system. I mean, there's federal legislation called the Additions to Reserved Act. It was passed in 2018, but nobody follows it. There's a provision in there that says we don't care about all your concerns about whether it's environmentally safe and things like that, because we're talking about agricultural lands that we're getting back, and we can give you a waiver that we won't do anything. Just transfer it to us. We won't hold you liable if the land turns out to be bad in a little way. There is a provision in that act, and there's a provision in their policy, but they won't follow that. They want to play by their old bureaucratic rules. You got to jump through all these hoops. We don't care whether you give us a waiver or not. So it totally is frustrating.
Yeah, and I just echo Lonnie's comments, and in relation to what Helen said as well, we want to be able to establish a whole new land tenure system where we hold it outside of Canada's jurisdiction. These are the kind of political issues that we need support with from this council. We're at we've got close to 1,000 acres that are in this process, and it's been in there for some as long as 30 years. So we've got to get moving. I'm glad to hear this, Helen. Thank you for bringing this forward, because it's got to change. It's so frustrating, and it's across Canada. So I think these are one of the items we got to talk about when we start preparing, moving forward with, as Lonnie pointed out, we're going to have some leverage in our lawsuit. Thank you. Thank you for bringing it up, Helen.
Follow up, Helen.
Yeah, I had met with Lonnie and Phil and Taylor, and we talked about what we could do, and they had mentioned that the Navajos had done some kind of a land transfer process, separate from what the government was doing. I remember I mentioned to council that maybe it would be a good idea to go down and meet with the Navajos, but we never did that yet. It might be a good idea to look into. They got some kind of process. Phil and Lonnie knows what they're doing, whether they're trying to get out of this land transfer.
Lonnie or Phil, did you want to add to what Helen just said about the Navajo land process?
Well, I've just done some very preliminary. We were hoping to get down there and meet with them on, as well as for our justice system. But they do hold it in a unique trust, their lands. And it's outside of the controls of the governments per se. But it's going to require more studying. But I mean, those are the type of options. You know, they're going to be talking sovereignty because this is our chance to be doing these issues. But we ourselves have got to do a lot of homework. I think it's we should get going on this as soon as possible.
Taylor, anything to add?
Just that we did receive some funding to go over the ATR process, so we will be having like a dinner meeting on March, the tentative date's the 20th, where we're basically going over the ATR process and everything that's wrong with that, and then we will be submitting that into a report to the people that deal with the ATR process as an official, I guess, complaint about everything that we don't like about it. So it is open to the community. We're just securing the venue, but the tentative date is March 20th.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none? We will move on. Now did we get a mover and a seconder for the,
I'll move on the motion with these stated changes I outlined before. Thank you.
and Elena will second? All in agreement? Oh, Helen? Okay, Helen opposed for reasons stated. Any others?
If you didn't hear me, I'm opposing because I don't want to add it to reserve. We're giving it back to the thief. Since when does somebody steal a car? You give it back to the thief.
Any other opposition? Hands? Okay, that's the majority. The motion is carried. And would we, the mover and the seconder, do you agree to waiving of second reading? You want the second? Yeah. Sorry, just to clarify, that motion is carried with the added revisions. And all agreed to waive second reading? Okay. Carried. The next is this is Taylor, the report that you were wondering, that's the very next one, the monthly report.
Oh yeah, so this is the monthly report. Since there was no political liaison in December, it's the end of November, December, and January. So we have like our monthly meetings with Ontario Place, Metrolinx, and a couple of our quarterly meetings fell on this. So we have quarterly with the MTO, and then the Brantford Engineering Services, which is their technical staff that work on city-led projects. And then we had also a couple meetings with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, where we highlighted all the ways that the aggregates affect our treaty rights. And then on one specific aggregate, to note, we also had our monthly meeting with Broccolini. So we'll be having our first in-person community engagement meeting. We've had two virtual ones, in-person persons this Wednesday. So Wednesday, January 24th, 5 p.m. at the Gathering Place. So if any and all of you want to attend, please do. There's going to be a dinner served after the presentation. And then there's a couple Toronto projects on the list. I don't know if anyone has any specific questions about any of the projects. Happy to answer them.
Question, Dale, or comment?
Just some comments, Taylor. I read your report and I see that you're very busy with all the stuff that you're doing and the people you're communicating with. However, the only concern I have, and I guess is more for, I guess, long-term reasons and reading it from an outside person. It's just that some of the things aren't like finished. Some of your thoughts aren't finished and it just seemed very choppy and some of the acronyms, I guess if somebody was just to pick up that report and because I mean, we're in an open session, so I'm assuming that community want to know what's going on with all the work that you guys are doing, just to be, I guess, further clarify, I guess, some of the things that you're doing and finishing off your thoughts, because it seems like you're very busy and you're jumping in 10 different directions at once, but so just to keep it, I guess, clear with that full explanation as to what's happening. Thank you.
Sorry, Leslie moves, seconded by Amos. All in agreement? Opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. I guess that's it for the CAP team. Or 6 point, is there another one there? Oh, sorry. This is with regard to consultation with municipality and proponents. And who is speaking to that one?
Dalen's going to speak to that one. He is our land use technician.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dalen G. I'm a land use technician for the CAP team. And what we are proposing is on Tuesday, March 26th from 5 to 8 p.m. is hosting an event at the Gathering Place where we invite the mayors and councilors from all the municipalities within the Haldeman tract to the Gathering Place, and we educate them on who Six Nations is. We educate them on our litigation against Canada and Ontario. We talk to them about the duty to consult and accommodate and treaty rights. A big problem that we face in our job, I guess it's not really a secret, is we don't really get accommodated for a lot of development that are happening within our treaty lands. And a big reason why we don't get accommodated is because we don't consult with a lot of development that's going on. And the reason that we don't consult with a lot of the development that is going on is because it's one, it's usually private landowners, and because of the educational gap, because people, they don't realize that they need to accommodate or even consult with Six Nations because they don't know that they're on treaty lands. Like for an example, a lot of the private developers are newcomers to Canada. And a lot of these newcomers don't have any education on Six Nations, so therefore they never consult with Six Nations. And a lot of the time we kind of get like community members, for instance, will be like, oh, hey, like what happened about this? What'd you guys do about this project that happened in Kitchener, Waterloo? Well, we didn't get consulted with it, so we didn't know about this project until way too late in the process. So if we can educate more people on who we are and our treaty rights, then we're going to get consulted a lot more. And then if we have more meaningful consultation with developers, then we're going to have a chance to get accommodated a lot more. And this is kind of going to go in hand because we are currently working on an accommodation strategy too. And we would like your support there. I don't know, Phil, if you have anything to add to that or not.
Well, I think it's just more of a follow-up as well, but the education is a major factor. We need political input with the mayors and municipalities up and down the Haldeman tract. You know, the initiative this council had last term with that walk, the 6 mile walk there, or you know, it would be a follow-up and educate everyone involved. We're just trying to build on the positives that have initiated before. So, Dylan's absolutely right that the people just don't know. They don't understand. They don't know they're in the Haldeman tract. They don't know what their legal liability, their legal responsibilities for consultation and accommodations are. And of course, the municipalities are caught between the downloading by the province to the municipalities who are prepared, who then point their fingers at the developers that they should be meeting with us. And it's just a dog's breakfast. We want to try and educate them on this. Those are the only comments I have, Dale.
Lonnie, you have a hand?
Yeah, we'll invite them. We'll see how many attend. I know there's going to be a reluctance on the municipalities to even consider accommodation, let alone consultation, let alone accommodation. So it's probably going to be some point down the road, we're going to have to look at a case where we're going to have to take it to court to get somebody to abide by the law. So, but that's a little bit down the road yet, but we're thinking hard about that. And we'll be letting council know when we think we should strike on enforcing our rights. So it's a bit down the road yet, but let's just now see here how willing these municipalities are to come and talk to us about consultation and accommodation, or are they going to shy away because they don't want to be held legally liable in any way? So we'll see.
Okay, we have comments, Amos, Helen, then Dale.
I don't know whether this is for Phil or Lonnie. Are we gonna, well, who was the gentleman that just spoke about March 26th? Are we going to put that as an option to the mayors that we might have to go into litigation to put some scare into them? I like Helen's attitude this morning. Let's put some scare in these people.
Yeah, I think we will have to. We'll say that's our. If you don't want to willingly discuss these things with us and talk accommodation, and then we're looking at going the legal route and bringing the judicial application for judicial review. So if they turn it down, then we can review their decision through the courts, and that's where we put our rights before a judge and say, look, these lands are all part of our lawsuit, and we're claiming we have an interest because they're illegally taken from us, and there's an obligation on those people who are in possession of it, municipalities, developers, and so forth, to come and talk to us about accommodating us until our ultimate rights are determined. So, that's a law of consultation accommodation. And yes, we should tell them that that's our last option, and we will go that route if we have to.
Thank you.
Follow up, Amos, did you? Okay. Helen, then Dale.
Yeah, the first whereas, I would want the consultation word taken out and put educated or something. It says consultation with municipalities.
What say you there, Lonnie and Phil and Taylor? Helen suggested the first line to take out consultation and add education instead.
Yeah, no problem. Sure.
Dale.
Couple questions. I know that date's a Tuesday, so I don't know if that's a general council meeting, so I don't know if that's something you gotta look at, Dalen, in relation to timing wise. It might be a general council meeting if I know you're asking for councilors to attend. My other question is a little more practical, I guess, and maybe that's something within Nathan's authorization, was just in relation to the finances of this, to be able to fund such an event. So I don't know if Nathan can answer that or Lonnie.
Nathan?
We do have some funding, do we not, Taylor, for education on litigation?
Yes, we do have some funding available for this.
Just to for you to note, is it possible to reschedule this? I see, and I agree, it's very important that the entire chief and council be in attendance. It's just, there is a general council meeting on, Tuesday, March, it's every other Tuesday. Either the Tuesday prior or the Tuesday the after.
Okay, yeah, I can look at that. The funding is up, I think, at the end of March, so it would have to be sometime before the end of March. But yeah, I can look at the gathering place and see what other dates are open.
Okay. Yeah, the Tuesday, what? How about the 19th? Is it the 19th or 18th? The 19th is a Tuesday. You can look on that and let us know.
Okay, I will.
Okay, with that in mind, are there any more questions or comments? Obviously, where it says the date, it's to be determined prior to the end of March. Just because we do want to attend and we do have a council meeting that night. Amos,
I have a conflict on the 19th, but go ahead. Just go ahead and have it. You have to have it on the 19th.
any other comments? Dale?
Just a comment, I agree with Phil and Lonnie's comment. This is long overdue in relation to educating the municipalities. So if there's no other concerns, I'll move on a motion.
Okay, we have Dale moving, a seconder with the noted change. Amos?
Can you hear Lonnie?
No, I couldn't hear you.
No, now we can hear.
Yeah, now,
Okay, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. I wonder if the department might prepare a brief on what does it mean this and from what's its origin, the duty to consult and accommodation from like the Supreme Court, just very simple because we have a lot of new members on council. So heaven forbid we meet and we're supposed to educate and we're scratching our heads. We don't want to be in that position.
For sure.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, sure, we can do that.
Oh, Amos?
Phil or Lonnie, can we also add a comment on free and prior consent?
Sure.
Informed consent, I mean?
Yeah.
Free, prior, and informed consent?
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
A brief on that as well?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Leslie?
When we were doing orientation, for various reasons, a few of us couldn't make it to their department to see this, to go through the walkthrough. Could we schedule that today too, after this is done? Rather than to go on our own, we could, however many left, we could
But-
go together.
Sorry, to go through the land research? Yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't know. Did you hear that? Leslie's request? We were supposed to do, I don't remember a follow-up. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I understand, Cynthia, that there's supposed to be a meeting coming up between the CAP team and council. It's in the works. Hopefully not too far down the road, but that would be very educational tool for all of council and for us too, to sit down and plot the direction of consultation and accommodation, the CAP team, and so forth. So hopefully that can be arranged soon. And a lot of these issues, again, can be rehashed there.
Nathan just advised where he's doing the follow-up on the site visits. I guess there were a few where we wanted to come back and have further discussion. So he'll be in touch. Any other questions, comments? But thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is number 7, scheduling. And this is Protecting Our Ancestors Conference taking place February 20th to the 22nd, 24 in Winnipeg at the RBC Convention Center. It's the Manitoba Kiwetino in the Okemukmanik Inc., MKO, and Sioux Valley Dakota Nation are co-hosting Protecting Our Ancestors Conference. And the conference is to address the needs for legislation similar to the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act of the United States, and known as the acronym is NAGPRA, NAGPRA, to ensure protection, control, disposition, and repatriation of ancestral remains and belongings. Do we have someone that wishing to attend that? Lonnie, are you still there?
Cynthia, our archaeology supervisor, Tanya Hill Montour, who does all the burials and repatriation here, her and I will be going to the conference as well.
Okay, thank you. And then when we have this scheduled meeting, you can give us an update on that perhaps. Okay, thank you. Moving to number 8, counselor reports, meetings attended. Helen?
I just want to let the community know that we haven't had too many consular reports because we've been so busy being orientated. We've had meetings almost every day. I just want people to know that's why we're not going to outside meetings right now, because we're busy. Don't think we're just sitting here.
So we don't have anyone in attendance that has a meeting to report on? No? Okay. What about the chief, as I said, is off on council business? Is somebody got a report that they can make for the chief? Chris? Okay. Because we're about to go into in camera now. Okay. We'll table that till tomorrow evening's meeting, general council. Thank you, Chris. And with that, can I have a motion to adjourn to in camera? Dale, seconder? Elena? Okay, we are adjourning the regular political liaison and we're moving into in camera. Thank you.